All right, so welcome to Digital Tech TV. This is a show where we're going to talk about the latest in technology and discuss problems that people have with their PCs, smartphones, tablets and laptops, internet, software, and smartphone apps. And we'll try to talk about viruses and backing up your pictures and, and all this stuff on your PCs. What's good stuff to buy, what's a good value, what's a waste of money, all kinds of stuff like that. So today I've got Steve Sedesky from Quality Computer Systems, or Quality Computer Services, I should say. Okay. And thanks, Steve, for coming in today. And I'm going to run through a few questions. I know you've got a lot of interesting things to say, and I know there's a lot of people out there who have computer problems. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in the same networking group, and I've heard a lot of the stories, which are fun to hear, but it's kind of tough for some people when they run into some of these problems. So I'll just let you do just a quick intro if you want to.
Steve Sedesky with Quality Computer Services. Been doing computer and networking for 25 years. Have a local business here in Alexandria for the past five and a half. And I go out to people's businesses, homes, and help them with any computer problem, networking problem, virus removals, all that. I sell and service PCs and computers and printers, so I'm kind of a one-man shop, but try to do as much as I can for anybody that needs problems. So,
Great. And right at the end of the show, I'm going to put up some, like, your contact information stuff, so if people want to call you if they have a problem, they can give you a call.
Great.
So let's see. One question I wanted to ask you about was antivirus software. Yes. I know there's a lot of products you can buy. Mm-hmm. Some people buy them, some people don't, and there's free ones. So what do we really need in terms of antivirus?
You need antivirus, but you don't necessarily need the ones that you pay for. The antivirus programs, none of them, even the ones that you're paying $70 a year for, the Nortons, the Kaspersky's, none of them are going to protect you 100%, but all of them, even the free ones, limit the damage that a virus can do once it's on your machine. So having something helps limit the damage. The pay-for ones tend to help a little bit more, but you're still going to probably wind up with a virus no matter what. So it's kind of a slight insurance policy that odds are, if you have Norton or one of the pay-fors, that we can recover your machine and not have to reload Windows. Mm-hmm. If it's a freebie, you still have a pretty good chance of being protected, maintaining your machine, but there is the risk of having to format the machine and reload Windows if the virus gets deep enough and damages Windows. So, yeah. But anything is better than nothing. Nothing is just waiting for failure, right. But some sort of antivirus, the AVGs for free, Microsoft Security Essentials for free, Panda has a freebie. There's half a dozen free ones, and they're all pretty good. Or there's all the ones you pay for, and there's some pay for ones that aren't any better than the freebies. So it's kind of a waste of money to go with some of those. So.
Right. So now, if you get a new PC, doesn't Windows come with one too?
Windows has the Microsoft Security Essentials built into it now. On the Windows 8, the newer machines, it's called Windows Defender again, which is what it used to be called back in Vista days, but it's the same thing as Windows Security Essentials, and it's a pretty good add-on, and at least it's there when you start your machine up, so even if you don't go out and get something, you already have something running on your machine.
Yeah, so really most PCs that you buy now, you're going to have it anyway. You're going to have something there. You're going to have the Windows version of it.
On the new machines, you'll have that have something to start with, so you don't have to necessarily go out and get something right away. But
the other thing is, I know some of them come in with added-on software when you buy the PC. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the things you do when you sell a PC is you take off all of that extra stuff because it's trying to sell you the stuff.
It's a lot of what's in the business called bloatware. It just bloats the machine, it slows it down. It's hundreds of programs running that are basically just advertisements for software. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get you to buy these different programs, And most of them I just take off, and if somebody wants a certain program, they can go out looking for one and not have to listen to all these ads on their machine.
Yeah.
But you see a noticeable increase in performance when you get all that extra stuff off the machine.
Clean it up, yeah. Okay, great. Well, that's good. That's really good information about antivirus stuff. The most common, what would you say is the most common problem that people have with their PCs?
Probably the two most common things I deal with is slow computers and viruses on computers, and both of them kind of stem from the same thing. Usually you have a couple different kinds of viruses. The one that just runs in the background and is trying to steal information causes your machine to be slow, so generally the slow computer is a virus removal project. Two, it's not. There's some that, like, it's an FBI warning pops up on your screen, or other viruses where your machine is just incapacitated due to the virus, but most of them now are more into harvesting your data and identity theft rather than just shutting your machine down. So it's getting the machines that are slow faster, from whether it's toolbars and add-ons that have been downloaded with updates, or viruses running in the background, but just to get them faster so people can do what they want, and then getting the viruses off of there so that their data is protected.
Yeah.
So
That makes me think of another question I actually had written down here further down, but that is the next question. When is it a good time to get a new PC? Because a lot of people have PCs and they're slow. So the question is, is there something I can do to fix it, or should I just dump it and get a new one?
what I tend to tell the people is, get a new one when your old one won't do what you want it to do anymore. There's still a lot of people running XP, and if all they want to do is access their internet, email, check the weather, do a little Facebook, they're fine. The only issue with the older machines right now is that the websites, which you'd be more familiar with, they're changing format because everything is now for the Google Chrome or the Internet Explorer 9 and 10. XP can only run up to Internet Explorer 8. So you start getting a lot of people that are trying to go onto Facebook, and they're getting these warnings that say your browser can't support the content. And so at that point, the older machines can't do everything people want to do. And then if you're getting all these warnings that your page isn't loading the way it should, then it's time to upgrade. Or you can even, on an XP machine, just load Google Chrome as a browser, or Firefox, and the XP will run the newest versions of those browsers, and that gets you around that problem. So there's still a lot of people that can use the old machines if they don't mind. If they have the patience to wait for them, they can use them. So
the other thing is, so you can upgrade hardware, but then sometimes if the machine is really old, it just doesn't help you that much, even adding some memory or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of old machines that need memory, and that speeds them up. And it's a cheaper fix than something new. But for $50-$60 you can bump the memory up and be a much faster machine, but still it's going to run into situations where it can't load certain pages and can't run certain programs, and at that point, when it can't do something you want to do, it's time to upgrade to a new machine.
Well, that's a nice thing about having you around, because if you don't really know, we can ask you. So, and then you can actually sell memory too, or order memory, or a new PC.
I can put it in and get it working for them.
Yeah, so that's great resource. This really could be a topic all by itself, but backups. I mean, it's really something that people tend to put off. But a lot of people have pictures and valuable things, even other documents that are valuable, and you don't think about it much until your hard drive crashes, and then you're really worried.
And backups it's a huge issue. It's in our meeting yesterday. I gave away a backup drive just because it's something that needs to be done, and I have a lot of people that still don't do backups. But basically you're either doing an external hard drive that you own and that you have hooked up to your machine, and you can back up all your documents and pictures and old emails, everything can go on there, or you sign up for one of the online services like a Carbonite and put it all out on the web, But a backup, there's so many people that have all of their family pictures, all of their tax documents, all of their information is stored on their computer. They don't have paper copies, they don't have pictures in photo albums anymore. It's all on the hard drive, and when that hard drive crashes, your only option then is to send it in to one of the data recovery companies, and they charge about $2,000 to pull data off of a drive. So it's a lot cheaper to buy a $100 external drive or pay a Carbonite type website, $50 a year, and then you can have all of your stuff protected and not have it lost. So, but it's definitely, with everything going digital and everything being stored on the computer, you need to have a second copy of that, and it doesn't even hurt to have a third copy, because the drives and things can go bad or off-site because of fire or theft. They're going to take the drive with them if they steal your computer. So having a third off-premise is a great solution, especially for businesses.
I know when I've lost data, a lot of times you lose data because of user error. You'll accidentally delete something. So
and that can be recovered sometimes. So without having to go too far or too expensive. So.
Okay, well that's a good topic and important. One other thing I wanted to mention here is using if you go to a coffee shop, for example, and you use the public Wi-Fi, there's some security concerns with that. You know, especially if you have something on your computer, like a tax document, your social security number or something on your PC, and you're sitting at Starbucks on using the Wi-Fi, somebody else could, tap into that and grab that.
That's on the newer machines. When you hook up to any network, you get the screen that says, is this a home, work, or public network? If you're at a public location, always choose that it's a public network. Then the machine itself will energize certain firewall features to keep your data safe. It won't allow access into your machine. And if you go in under some sharing settings and make it where people need to have a password to get into your machine remotely, that will protect you from people being able to access your data on a public network. So there's different ways to protect it, but having a password on your machine so people can't access your data, or on the newer machine, selecting public network energizes security features to keep people out. So there are a couple ways to keep your data safe, but that's where a lot of people are actually starting to go with using their mobile phone as a hotspot, and then they just use that instead of using the public Wi-Fi, and they are on their own private network that way.
So that's an important thing to keep in mind, because I think probably a lot of people don't realize that, that there could be hackers coming into the computer if they're sitting in a public Wi-Fi spot. All right. Well, that's great information. There's so much of it, and there's so many things to cover, but those were some of the top things I think that I thought of that I wanted to ask. And do you have anything else, any other words of wisdom for us, or good advice, or don't do this, don't do that? Or?
The only thing people always ask me, how do I not get a virus? And I just tell them to turn off your computer, because if you're running, it's going to happen sooner or later, and it's not even doing something wrong anymore. There's so many places where viruses come from. I've ordered machines for people from Dell and Gateway and Acer, and when I get the machines and taking off all of that extra programs to start with, I scan the machines, and 9 times out of 10, brand new machines already have a virus on them, just from all of the drivers and data being loaded on there. Something is corrupt and something gets in the machine.
That's a good reason to buy a computer from you, because you fixed that before.
It's clean day one, where if you have a virus on your machine the day you start it, you're already at a disadvantage, because that weakens your security and you're going to get more and more viruses. So it's just definitely something to get it clean to start with, and then just to be safe and keep it clean, and use some of the antivirus and tools out there that are there to keep it clean.
So when you say you tell people to turn the computer off, you mean at night or
just completely? Because if it's running, you're going to get a
oh,
virus.
you mean if they suspect?
Just to try to prevent viruses in general. The only way to do it is to not use it.
Oh,
If you're using your computer, you're going to get a virus.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I've had people get it from software that comes with different machines, sewing machines, the little picture frames, just on the driver discs for printers. There'll be viruses on those things. So it's not even internet based anymore. It comes from so many places.
It's just like there's germs everywhere.
Yeah.
You're just going to get them. You just have to try to watch.
Just have to try to limit the damage and keep things as clean as you can. So.
Another thing that I think a common thing that people should know is that if you get an email, especially from a financial that you think it's your bank, even if you're pretty sure it's from your bank, and there's a link in there to click on it to log in, I usually don't do that. I'll just go into my browser and go to the bank website myself. Don't click on links in emails.
No. And always go to your bank or any of those type of businesses directly. Don't use links, and any email that says that it's Yahoo webmail or any Gmail, and they need you to reply to this email and send in your username and password to verify your account, or it's going to get closed. It's all scams, and what's really, since they're already breaking the law and doing fraud, they don't care that they're doing copyright fraud too. So it'll actually have the UPS logo, the FedEx logo. It's gonna look official, and it's gonna have this link for you to click, or it's wanting you to return a reply with all this information. And even if it looks official, don't do it, because generally it's going to be a scam. So.
Right. Yeah. A lot of that going around where they scare you into clicking almost.
Yeah.
So
they're threatening that your account's going to be shut down or your email's going to stop working, so you get a panic and you do it out of fear, and then
or you're overdrawn, or you owe this money unless you click and get in and fix it. That's too bad. So okay, well, great. I think that's pretty good for this show, and thanks so much for coming in, Steve.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And we will we'll have some information at the end of this show on screen, so that people can kind of see what we talked about and get a hold of Steve for any a little more information about what we talked about. So okay, well, thanks a lot, Steve. Thanks for coming in. All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks for watching the show, and here's the show notes right here. Gives you Steve's telephone number right here, 320-759-1611. The show is sponsored by My Business, Database Systems, and Bluebird Shopper. And you can find the show notes here if you want to go later on to the website, database.com/DT1. That is where the show notes are at. Thanks a lot.